Raghav Gupta joins CEO at IFL Capital Securities on the show with us, or services rather. Raghav, hi, morning. Good to have you on the show. Tell me, what's the current sentiment in the IPO market like? Because A, we've seen the lineup getting very, very strong, and B, some absurd valuations as well in individual cases. What are you making of the sentiment?
Hi, thank you for having me on the show. While the first 5 months of the current uh, 2025 have been quite weak for the IPO market, but I think the buoyancy is coming back in the last couple of months. You'll be surprised, almost 150 IPOs are filing for DRHP as we speak. So I believe that the market's going to improve going on uh, as far as the latter half of the year progresses.
Could you broadly tell us that which are the IPOs which could be off the block in next 1 quarter or so, next 90 days? Which are the big famous ones which could make their debut?
So it's difficult to predict which one's going to go to public, but depends on how the markets pan out. But the markets are looking quite buoyant. The big one, which is most expected, is Reliance Jio, Zepto, Tata Capital, Grow. Oyo's actually come back to the discussion with their bankers. So these are the ones which are most anticipated. HDB actually started its the process of IPO. So a lot of big lineup, but the big one is actually Jio, which is the most expected IPO for 2025.
Do you expect that in this IPO comeback, and I'm comparing, let's say, what was there in Jan and December and Jan, where a lot of small IPOs were coming through. They were sold because IPO market was vibrant, not because businesses were great. This time there is some sanity and some reasonable IPOs will make public at reasonable valuations rather than absurd valuations.
Uh, I won't like to comment on and make a generalized remark on the entire ecosystem of IPOs, but I can say the valuations are still expensive. Just to give you some data points, the same time last year, there were about 27 IPOs which hit the market, and they raised about approximately 27,000 crores. But in the same time, this calendar year 2025, we've already had 10 IPOs raising close to 17,000 crores. Almost, sorry, 18,000 crores has been raised in 2025. So, and there are about 70 companies which are IPO ready with approvals from SEBI waiting in the wings.
Um, Do you expect a lot of P exits happening in next 6 to 8 months? Because now it's getting quite interesting the way the news is coming out in terms of some of the good quality businesses where P players feel that it's the right time for them to cash out and for them to take the companies public.
I think it's a good time. I think if the company is fundamentally sound, every PE player is a financial investor. So he obviously is looking at exit at some point in time. So most PE players like to exit a portion of their investment during the IPO, and they probably stay back for a couple of years and see how it goes if they are actually very bullish on the company. But if the PE player has been invested for a very long time, then he might take a larger chunk off the table in the IPO. It depends company to company.
What are your thoughts on SME IPO and what trend do you expect there?
Beg your pardon?
SME IPO, what are your thoughts there?
SME IPOs, you got to be very careful. They're extremely volatile. So I would suggest to most investors to do their due diligence before investing in SME IPOs. SME IPOs can be very frothy. The businesses are not very large. So I would advise that, investors to be very careful and take a very calculated risk as far as SME IPOs are concerned.
There are themes which are at play sometimes in the IPO market. There was a time when digital companies, in a matter of 6 months, three, four of them went public. There was a time when defense companies just went public. Now it's hospitality companies which are going public. Last 1 year, we've seen 5, 6 hotel companies which have gone public. What is that underlying theme in the IPO market which you see as a trend?
I think we'll see technology companies going public. We'll see financial services, manufacturing. You'll see battery and renewables, which is the current favorite of the market. So all these sectors are favored sectors for them to go public. And there, as I said to you, there are a bunch of companies which have got their SEBI norm not to go public. So there's a huge amount of primary paper which is going to hit the market.
Appreciate your time. So glad you could join us with your thoughts on the IPO market. So IPO market is getting warmed up.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.